What's going on, YouTube? I hope everyone's having an incredible day out there. So it's one more day to the national elections for the midterms. I know many people out there have been getting information from the lamestream media, the same media that continues to lie to you and tell you things that are foolish and false, and they've been doing it for a very long time. They've been telling you things like black youth are super predators, that you are deserve something, this whole entitlement generation. And those are just to name a few. Donald Trump is a racist. Donald Trump is a Nazi. The Nazi party is controlling this country right now. The Nazis are the Republicans. They're ripping, right? You keep ripping children away from their mothers. Kid, you have young ladies every day who walk into an abortion clinic and lives are changed forever unless they watch some Kim Kardashian show where they brag about having abortions. You know, uh, we're not talking about that in America. We're talking about taking care of people from other countries, people who have come here for a better life and are abusing our system because they never assimilated, they never became citizens, and they're basically at the mercy of the government. Any point in time, the government can decide, like it did under President Eisenhower, to come and take these people back to their countries. It can happen at any moment. But Democrats know it's popular right now because they know it would help them continue to retain power in the states and in the concentrated areas that they're powerful in. We need to do more and more as a country to destroy this progressive system that has regressed America into a shithole, for better words. And excuse my language. I know YouTube doesn't normally like freedom of speech, but I'm going to speak freely. America has become a country that has based things on progressivism now. Now everything is based on this progressive agenda. We need to make sure everything is done in order to continue this downward spiral that's not working. We're going to destroy the Senate, destroy our borrowing and banking system. We're going to create a federal income tax, right, that wasn't even ratified by all the states, should be abolished, in my opinion. We're going to destroy the immigration process in this country and then try to use one amendment of the Civil War Amendment, right? The war that's out of the Civil War Amendment, or the one amendment that they're using is the 14th Amendment, which has nothing to do with illegal immigration. And also on the same topic, I saw someone had a question on there. On that same topic, they normally, whenever it comes to trying to have a civil conversation on these topics, it always goes to you being one of these things: a racist, a Nazi, a white supremacist, such. Hey, what's up, Rob? Thanks for joining me today, Rob Sauce. I appreciate that, brother. They call you all these names because they don't really know how to address the truth. They've been so subverted, they've been so NPC'd, right? Orange man bad, orange man bad. Join us. Orange man bad. They've been so NPC that they don't know how to think for themselves anymore. And so now we're battling with something that is been conjuring up itself for decades. In the early 1900s, it was Teddy Roosevelt who introduced us to progressivism. He read some of these Marxist books from some of these people, the Crawleys and the folks like that. He read these books. He brought progressivism into this country. A Republican did that. Now, good thing that people in his Congress stopped a lot of things he wanted to do. But then Woodrow Wilson took it to a whole new level. FDR took it further than that. But in the end, when you read the progression of America, and I'm not talking about progressives, how America has progressed itself, Americans reject progressivism every time. They elected Ronald Reagan. Right after FDR was president, they elected Dwight Eisenhower. Right? They elected John Kennedy, who cut government spending and also cut taxes. They, throughout history, look at Barack Obama. They rejected Barack Obama's message. The people rejected Barack Obama's message. Now, everything Barack Obama has done to this country is being undone. They rejected FDR's message as well. All the Great Society programs and all the things that FDR gets all this credit for today, most of those were repealed and removed. They no longer exist except for the things that are now destroying this country. Social Security, Medicare, whole nother conversation we could have about that. But Social Security and Medicare, FDIC, a few other government programs are still alive and well today. But they're all leading to this progressive destruction of America. You literally have people who know nothing about the Constitution, who know nothing about the principles of the Bill of Rights, the principles of states' rights, and the things that make America a great country. You have people out there teaching kids that America was never great, that the Constitution was never principled because it was written by racist white men. That white men are the biggest problem in this country, right? Don Lemon just said that recently, as every night he lays in the bed with the white guy, right? Van Jones, this was a white lash. Well, his wife white lashed his ass because he was married to a white woman. Nothing wrong with marrying to the person that you want to be with. There's nothing wrong with being married to a white person, a black person, Hispanic, Asian. There's so much interracial couples these days. It's beautiful to see what we have become as a nation. Imagine that. We are now a nation where people marry who they want to marry, right? That's incredible. The Democrats hate that too. If you're not on their side when it comes to interracial marriage, even Kamala Harris, she puts out a tweet and a post on Instagram that says, vote for black women. Oh, really? Look up Kamala Harris's husband. You think he's black? What do you think he is? Why are these people so contingent on race? Why has it been that way since the beginning of time? Why is it since the beginning of the Democratic Party's creation? They've been so focused on race. First, it was the white race. Oh, whites. Look at the black man. The black man is your problem, white people. Go after the black man. Put all the laws in place against the black man. Create gun control laws against the black man. Let's stack our court system and our governmental system to stop black men from being free, right? I feel like affirmative action is bringing America down too. Well, affirmative action worked predominantly for feminists, right? Affirmative action worked more so for women. For affirmative action didn't really work so much for black people. It worked for women. And that's why you see when you go to any medical facility, predominantly women work in medical facilities. Nothing wrong with that, all right? I'm not saying it's bad. But when you go to a lot of these places now that were before men and women, or men, now a lot of them are ran by women. Now, affirmative action was set up at a time where, in many ways, it was needed. At the beginning, at the end of segregation, the beginning of America kind of moving into a new phase in the 70s, it wasn't anything wrong with affirmative action. But what conservatives started arguing against affirmative action was that you want to look at content of character, or a woman. You don't want to look at a woman as someone who's a weaker being than a man. Women give birth, right? Women give birth. Women have a monthly cycle that they have to go through where they're in a lot of pain. Giving birth is painful. Women have a bigger pain threshold than us men, if you guys didn't know that. Not only that, but women do incredible things outside of the little bubbles that society has created for women. But for them to take women and put them in this affirmative action bubble, it's created this whole wussification of society. Because now you have more women working, but more of those women are single moms. More of those women are single, period. And they don't know how to compete with a man because they've been told their whole life that, oh, you don't need a man. You don't need, it's all about you and yourself. And that's not the way God designed this world. That's not the way God designed mankind. We're all supposed to be able to coexist with one another as men and women. But now you can't even do that. I'm so happy I'm married. I'm so happy I found the woman of my dreams, because now if I were single, right? If I were a young man and I were single, I could get charged with rape just for asking the chick for her phone number. Now I could get charged with an unwanted advance, right? For just brushing up again. You know, I'm trying to move around on the bus. I brush up again. Oh, he brushed against me. And I felt that was a sexual assault. That's what's going on in society right now. Because feminism has toxified our working environment, our school environments, our healthcare environments. Feminism has been toxic to this country. And it's encouraging more women to be with women anyway, right? There's nothing wrong with you having the selection of person that you want to be with. As you guys know, if you follow me on any of my social media platforms, I'm not anti-LGBT, but I don't want anyone forcing it on me. I don't want anyone forcing heterosexuality on anybody either. You don't force that on people. You live by example, okay? I live by example with the person that I'm married to. I'm not trying to force that. Oh, look at me. I'm a black man married to a black woman. Ooh, yeah. Everyone needs to be like me. That's not what I'm doing at all. I'm saying for myself, I'm a husband and my wife is a wife, and we're together and we're going to live out the best life that God created for us. We're not here to try to race bait or, play shucking and jive. We're not here for that. How many people are looking up to Jay-Z and Beyonce right now, not really knowing what Jay-Z and Beyonce's relationship stands for? They don't really know, but they're looking up to it because that's what they see on television. But my whole point is that the reason why, like, you look at a person like Maxine Waters, the reason why she keeps winning elections is because she has predominantly women in her district who are single moms, who are if they're not single, they're single women who have never had a man around them in their life, or their men have moved on, or something else has happened. This is what we're dealing with in society. And a lot of these women, especially the ones who raise single children, my mom was a single family mother, so I'm not disrespecting any woman out there who's a single parent. This is no disrespect to you. But a lot of them wussify men. They create men who are like little crybabies, like LeBron James, right? They're out there just whining and crying all the time instead of doing what men are supposed to do. Now, I'm not saying that a woman can raise out to war and be gone for years, and then their wives would find out that the man was dead, and they had to raise both the kids. That society works. Like, what you see in society. Remind me. What? Never mind. You back. Oh, what happened? Did something go wrong? Did it start breaking up? And so what you see in society is that we have pushed so much progressivism on people that you have people to understand what America was created for, what America's institutions are even about, and even what the principal constitution is. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Plus, I'm going to throw in the midterms. It's very important tomorrow that you guys get out there and vote. Pretend to can with you. Society. If you're voting for jobs, you're voting for the GOP. If you're voting for mobs, you're voting for the Democratic Party. Did you hear Maxine Waters already? What she says she wants to do when she takes over the House Finance Committee? Remind them. She wants to go after businesses and target people and fine people and go after Trump and Trump's businesses. That's not how things are supposed to work in America. Okay? That's not how it's supposed to work. That's right. All the Texas people out there, go out and vote for Ted Cruz. If you're voting for Beto O'Rourke, more than likely you're from California or from some liberal state. And you've influenced other people in Texas to pat themselves on the back for wanting to have a Beta O'Rourke, right? That's the name I'm going to give him, as a senator in Texas. Unfortunately, the problem with Texas right now is that not only do you have a large illegal immigration population, after California, we have the highest, but you also have a lot of liberals moving to Texas from California, from these other states. Same thing has happened up and down the West Coast. It's happened to Washington. It's happened to Nevada. It's happened to a lot of California even. People flocked to other places. Montana. But Montana is blue because of Californians. They've moved to Montana and then they vote the same way. Now you have a assault weapons ban in place, and you have the same policies they do everywhere they go. It continues, right? And the reason why it's continuing is because people aren't stepping up and doing anything about it. Who are there? A lot of the GOP people aren't engaged. They're not activists, and they don't care. A lot of them just want to deal with their everyday lives wherever they are. And come to find out, years after down the line, they look around and they go, I don't have gun rights anymore. I don't have property rights really anymore. Illegal immigrants have taken all my jobs. That's what's happened in California. When I hear other black people saying, right, black people, I don't really hear this from white people because I think they would probably be a little bit more afraid to bring it up to a black, and they don't know I'm conservative. But when you hear black people say, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, right, the construction jobs were predominantly white and black. When you hear people say that, you know that we have a problem in this country, especially in places like California. If you go and look for a construction jobs pay very well, very good blue collar job. They always now ask in the state of California if you speak if you speak Spanish. It's because we've influxed our population with this illegal immigration issue. It's costing us tons and tons of money, which is why I did my video on illegal immigration. Illegal immigrants are at the mercy of the government. They continue to think that sanctuary cities and all these things are going to protect them, and they're not. They're eventually going to come against you. And if you're not prepared for that, if you're an illegal immigrant, notice I'm saying this with compassion. You're going to be deported back to your country, period. Once they start looking at, Gavin Newsom, right? Evil Gavin. If he wins the governorship in California, he's already trying to ban gun shows. He probably will put forth something to abolish the Second Amendment. He's going to do everything he can. Free health care for illegals and free health care. This is going to destroy the state of California. When that happens, Republicans start winning usually. Slowly but surely, they start taking up. Oh, yeah. The Democrat people, they get tired. Their voters, they get sick and tired of things too. Oh, Maryland, we're going to put in a rain tax. Now Maryland has a Republican governor. So that's my point. Whenever you start going off the deep end on pushing progressivism, what happens is it starts regressing societies, regressing full states. California has a huge problem with illegal immigration, and they don't want to do anything to fix it. I listened to, I did not know Cato Institute was so horrible, okay? Now, why I say that is this. I know Cato is predominantly libertarian, right? I think a lot of the Koch brothers, and I know a lot of them are kind of entwined in the Cato Institute. I'm not a fan of the Koch brothers. I never have been. But when it comes to, I listened to the Cato Institute's podcast on illegal immigration today. Did you guys know what they said? They said that Trump wanting to do something about the 14th Amendment is bad. And I listened. They said even the federal government trying to do something about sanctuary cities is bad. I said, am I listening to the Cato Institute? Is this the Cato Institute saying this? I mean, I really had to go and say, am I really hearing this right now? Sanctuaries, and the person who was talking, one of them had a foreign accent, like British or Australian or something. He was saying that sanctuary cities can't have federalism can't take over a sanctuary city. And I'm sitting here like, if you read about the great Cato, the great Roman senator, statesman, right? That's the name they give Cato, statesman. He didn't stand for that. He stood for the rule of law. Cato killed himself, right? He killed himself because he stood for the rule of law. What the hell is the Cato Institute doing? I listened to that today and I said, this is the Cato Institute? What the hell is this? Sanctuary cities are not constitutional, period. You can't sanctuary, he even said, well, the legal term is sanctuary city, but that term is not actually legal. It's just what they call it. Again, if it's a burden on a society and people come into power who realize that burden on society, those people who have come here who thought, oh, sanctuary cities, they're gone. All deported back to their countries. Why set people up for failure like that? Why lie to people that way? That's called deception. Don't invite people to come into this country when you know that the government at any point in time can move these people right back to where they came from. You're not encouraging them to become citizens. You're not encouraging them to assimilate, learn basic English. None of that. You're saying, come here just like you are, live the lifestyle that like, just make the city that you move into just like the country you ran away from, right? But Cato said the removing funding from Cato said that that's an overreach of federalism. Cato Institute said this? It's an overreach of federalism to enforce immigration law and to remove all federal funding from sanctuary cities. Who's running the Cato Institute, guys? Who's running the Cato Institute? I know the Koch brothers are open border guys. The reason why a lot of people are open borders is because it's cheap labor. You abuse people's labor system, right? They come here, you break their backs basically and pay them less than what you would pay in America. That's called evil. That's called wrong. I don't support the Koch brothers, right, at all. I no longer support the Cato Institute. I used to. The Cato Institute should be ashamed of themselves for saying this. They were supposed to be libertarian. Why do so many libertarians, right? I'm constitutional, libertarian as well in many ways. But why do so many libertarians support open borders? I don't get it. What a disappointment by the Cato Institute, guys. And it's happening. It's just toxic everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, everything's been toxic to our society. It's toxic. Wanted to say this really quick, guys, before I continue. If you want to make any sort of contribution, click the links on my profile. There's a link for you to make a contribution. There's also a link for you to get the pushback shirts, but the ones that we have right now are in red, white, and blue. So please, guys, click on that profile if you'd like to. The black and gray ones, I put these out a few years ago, right before Christmas, and they sold out. So if you can, please do us a favor. Please make a donation. Buy yourself a pushback shirt. Sad because the NPC meme is so real. It is true. You have people who really don't know how to think for themselves anymore. And because they have been told how to think, that's the only way they know how to answer, if they do answer your question, right? When you look at the Black Summit that happened a few weeks ago, you look at Roland Martin. He can never answer a question, right? So, Mr. Martin, what do you think about Donald Trump doing for black? Well, let me ask you a question. That was his comeback every time. Let me ask you a question. No, Roland, answer the question, please. No. Let me say something to you. Either that, or if you go to one of these rallies, they're walking away from you if you have a microphone. Hey, what do you think about? I don't want to talk to you. You're a Nazi. And then they look you up. They'll look up your face. Oh, who's this guy? I haven't seen this guy here before. Oh, this guy is a racist. And then they go and they start attacking your social media accounts. And then they go and they start trying to do everything they can. These people have fought. I remember when I first started becoming a little bit more popular on Twitter, okay? Wayne, right? You know Donald Trump says, we love Wayne, right? That's my buddy, Wayne Dupree. So Wayne shouted me out on Twitter. And all of a sudden, my Twitter page starts growing like crazy, right? And then one day, that all stopped. And I'm still dealing with it now. But one day, it all just stopped. And what's so interesting is I went to certain people's pages who are affiliated with Twitter, who are media figures. Why did so many of these people have me blocked? How did these people know even who I was? So many of these predominantly Silicon Valley folks had me blocked. I said, why did this person block me? Like, I don't even know who this is. I looked up their name after I saw their name somewhere on Twitter, and they have me blocked. And then now I've been struggling with keeping followers because they keep deleting all my followers on Twitter, claiming that we're trying to cut down on Russian bots. As Louis Farrakhan refers to our Jewish brothers and sisters as termites. And he keeps his page wide open. I was suspended last year even on Twitter for making a comment about Islamic terrorism. Yep, exactly. They love to block and they love to shadow ban. It's so interesting. Recently, since I've been doing a little bit more activism, I did interviews for the California Resurgence, which was where the senator from Orange County was, Rudabaker, or whatever his name is, Rudabar. He was there, and a bunch of other candidates were there. Aja Smith from Riverside, good friends of mine. All these people were there, and I did a few interviews, and I would grow, I would get some followers, but then I wake up the next day or the fall, and I'm losing 10, 20 followers still. Makes no sense. Twitter is doing this because they know the election's right around the corner, and they don't want people who are conservative and independent-minded on their site. Period. They don't want us there. They want us gone. They want us silenced completely. They don't want us to have a voice. They'll do whatever they can to put us underground. Right? I don't mean in a grave. I mean just we don't have a voice. We're just silenced. And I heard a conservative say this. I was just talking to Bill Fish, which is John James's campaign guy. I was talking to him. I said, I can't remember the conservative's name who said this, but he was a strong, he's not a GOP, he's a conservative. He helped with Reagan. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but he said one of the things he's disappointed with conservatives now is their ability to start businesses. Most conservatives have become blue-collar workers. That's what we are now. Nothing wrong with that. But he said not enough conservatives are starting businesses. When you look at the majority of the wealth that's held in this country, most of that wealth, even Hillary Clinton acknowledged, is in liberal parts of this country. California, New York, Illinois, Chicago, specifically, Miami. Predominantly that wealth comes from the Democrats. Those people are Democratic voters, okay? The people who control the most wealth in this country are Democrats. They're not Republicans. Now, what they do tell you, Bernie Sanders and all these other left-wing dum-dums, oh, well, the concentration of wealth is all because the GOP is the party of the rich. Woodrow Wilson said this over 100 years ago, and it's not true. The party of the rich are the Democrats. They hold the most wealth in this country, period. Look up Forbes list every year. You're going to find 8 to 9 folks on the top 20. And out of the 100, I think they do, you're going to find another 20 or 30 of them who are Democratic donors donating millions of dollars to the Democratic Party. Whereas me or you, we got to take $25 to $100 out of our check that we make from our jobs. So this conservative person, I have to remember their name next time when we do some sort of live feed to talk about them. But he said, I'm so disappointed that more conservatives aren't trying to start businesses. I'm trying. I'm doing my very best to grow my YouTube page now. I have a pretty decent following on Instagram, a very decent following on Twitter, and I thank everyone on there who's following me on Twitter and Instagram for that. But for the most part, YouTube has stopped advertisement and things like that. When my YouTube page started last year, I only had 10 followers. Okay? I'm sorry, 2 years ago. I had 2 followers 2 years ago. Last year, I had 10 followers. Now I have almost 500. So I'm very thankful for that. But YouTube cut my revenue. So, yeah, this is what Beto's 30. Yeah, all Beto's donations are coming from Texas. The most expensive race ran, I think, were 2. There were 2. One was Hillary's in New York in 99. The other one was Dianne Feinstein in California, right, in 1994. She almost lost. She lost by she won by 1 vote or 2 percentage points. It was the most expensive race, those 2 in history, right? And it was a Republican. At the time, California had a strong Republican base in California. I mean, in the early 90s, it was still very Republican before the gerrymandering started changing everything, right? But Beto is getting all his money from the so-called the party of poor people, right? From New York, from California, right? From Silicon Valley, from Miami. All his donations are coming from rich and wealthy folks who are on the Forbes list, right? And Beto O'Rourke is not going anywhere. Beto O'Rourke is here to stay, guys. He's going to probably run for president one day. This dude, I talked about this the other day. What are all socialists good at? From Hitler to, and Marxists as well. Hitler, Lenin, FDR, Brock, right? What are all these folks good at? Speaking. Look at Gilliam. Look at Abrams, Afrohimi, right? That's what I call her. All these folks are great speakers, but they have no substance. Beto O'Rourke, great speaker, right? No substance to his speeches, just emotional, sweating. Beto gets off sweating. Oh yeah, that's incredible, isn't it? Right? And he doesn't have anything that can add to what he's saying, right? Beg me to vote for a white Democrat. That's really funny. Beto O'Rourke tries to call himself Beto, and he's an Irishman, right? He tries to call himself Beto to play this identity politics game of subjecting himself to the Latino vote, right? Because Texas is growing as a state with more Latino voters. But Latino voters in Texas, from what I've seen, predominantly vote Republican, right? There's El Paso that doesn't. It never has. If you look at the voting map, it never has voted Republican, ever. But for the most part, most of Texas votes Republican. But the places that have been overpopulated by liberals, Dallas has been, Austin, Texas has been, San Antonio, El Paso, obviously, because of the border, people flocking in through the border. All these places that were red at one point, right? Even Austin at one point was red, have now become blue. Houston, Texas is blue. All these places have become blue because people are leaving liberal states and bringing their politics with them. Same thing's happening to Nashville, Tennessee, right? People leaving their garbage town, New York City, Chicago, California, going to this place, right? Oh, we got to vote Democrat because that's the party that helps the little man. And then they get rich and wealthy, and then they come back and destroy and screw up everything. Look at Seattle. Seattle has a high concentration of billionaires. The city is full of homeless drug addicts. And the people have to deal with that every day. It's not the millionaire. Jeff Bezos doesn't have to walk down the street past a person shooting themselves up with heroin needles. Who has to deal with that? you and I do if we're in Seattle. Not the people. Look at San Francisco. Same thing. San Francisco is based. Seattle is San Francisco light, right? You San Francisco people pooping all over the ground. We were watching the video today, me and my wife. A lady just sitting there taking a dump in front of a stop sign, just sitting there taking a dump in public. People shooting up heroin. When did this become okay? When did this become okay? And people still want to vote for this shit. They still, oh no, the Democratic Party is the party. It's the party for the little man. The Democrats really care about you. We want you to have health care. We want you to understand that we're going to do something for you. They are all incredible speakers who offer nothing but crazy speeches. Barack Obama uses Chavez's hope and change, right? Chavez used that message in Venezuela. Barack Obama used it to run and win the presidency twice in America. Hope and change, hope and change. Socialists. That's what that message was. And what did he bring to us as a president of the United States? A destruction of our country that was rejected by the American people. That was my original point. This is why it's very important that you get out there tomorrow and vote. Again, family members, friends, co-workers, if you go to school, fellow students, get them out, educate them. Get them to understand the importance of voting. Let's defeat the Democratic Party. And then once we do that, let's do it again and again. Let's reject their message at all stops, right? That's right. Poop everywhere, right? Poop and heroin needles all over the place. California has a huge problem right now. And it seems like what's going on along that border is one of the reasons why the money seems so good that it's just invisible. That's another topic I'll talk about another day. But you guys probably know what I'm getting at. We have a huge caravan of folks running into this country. No one's doing anything about it. What is it in Cali they like to give? They like to give away clean needles, but it's never, the needle exchange program was supposed to be to help people get off of, it basically would wear you down to the point where you would have counselors there who would help you. That's the way it used to work. It doesn't work that way anymore. So, yeah, they do. And they give away needles in Seattle, and people, I saw an NRA with Coleon Noir. I saw an NRA episode where they do it on grave sites. You know, they just shoot up needles all over the place. Yeah, but they don't require that they give them back before. Exactly. And now you have a huge heroin problem in Seattle. Sad. You have people who have put campsites up at parks and public places. I've never seen anything like this before. A few years ago, before the 2016 election, I'm driving down Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. I see a group of young people camped out on the sidewalk in tents. I had never seen that. And now you see it everywhere in SoCal, in Northern California, I'm sure Central California. You see it everywhere. People sleeping in tents because the housing is so expensive and it's so comfortable to just shoot up heroin all day and then collect a paycheck from the government. Many of these folks have money, and then they go out at night and steal shit. That's what they do. That's why they broke into my car. They break into people's cars and break into people's houses too. Bro, when I was in Cali for your wedding. Yeah, so you saw the encampments there, right? All over, especially Hollywood is an area that is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. I'm not just talking about the people. I'm saying the network itself. Hollywood is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, and it's a shithole. 100%. It's a shithole. You don't want to be in Hollywood in the middle of the night. You will get your ass beaten down and robbed, right? And again, exactly. It's in a nice part of what used to be a nice part of town. It's so interesting because back in the day, the other side of Sunset was full of pimps, hookers, and prostitutes. They cleaned that up now. That's no longer there. Now Democrats would probably fight for those things, right? Now that they clean that up, now on the normal side of Sunset and Hollywood Boulevard, those areas are run down. I remember when we used to go out and party. When you go to Hollywood Boulevard, they had all the clubs. Now you don't see that anymore. Predominantly, Downtown LA is where everyone goes to like party. And downtown LA is just as bad. You go down one street and you see a whole encampment. And the smell is horrendous. This is what you're voting for if you vote Democrat. If you're voting Democrat, you're voting for encampments, illegal immigration, socialized medicine, repealing your tax cuts. You're voting for Nancy Pelosi being the Speaker of the House. You're voting for Maxine Waters going and investigating any business that supported Trump and any businesses that supported conservatives and also Donald Trump's own businesses, right? You notice no one from any of Donald Trump's businesses have ever come out against him, said he's never made sure they weren't paid, or the 10,000 people he's employed, not one has ever come out against him, man. You notice that? You can keep business up around all that stuff. You can't. You got places in downtown LA where every night some homeless guy sleeps next to your business, shits and pisses everywhere, and you have to open the door the next day and try to explain to your customers how you're running a legitimate business. This is what they want in America. The destruction of America started with progressivism. I'm asking everyone out there today. I know I don't have a lot of people on my live feed, but all the people who are here, it's 5, that's enough. Get the word out. Reject progressivism, okay? If that message gets out to everybody, and I include starting with you guys, one person could change things. You have to start there, guys. She said Cali is bad. Who said that? California was a beautiful state. When Los Angeles specifically was beautiful until they elected Tom Bradley. Tom Bradley destroyed Los Angeles. Okay. Now they call Tom Bradley this black progressive Democrat hero. The guy was a destructive mayor in the state of California. Okay, and in the city of Los Angeles, he destroyed Los Angeles. What you saw under his mayorship is a bunch of homelessness. Homelessness just tanked up under his mayorship. It was progressives that vamped up the case. Exactly. You're 100% right. And it was Woodrow Wilson who resegregated our militaries, who showed Birth of a Nation at the White House, and the list goes down the line. Even FDR rejected anti-lynching laws. Even after his wife came to him, right? His wife, who was his cousin, even after his wife came to him and said, hey, look, do something about lynching. He wouldn't do it because he had to keep his Democratic base in the South. So my point is that they call this man a hero too, right? But it's our duty to go out and vote tomorrow. Reject progressivism at all costs, guys. Do not fall for the bullshit that they keep pulling and the garbage that they keep pulling to try to get you to think that the Democratic Party and the Liberal Party is a party for the little man. The Democratic Party is a party for the ultra-rich, wealthy folks who really don't care about America and who now have enough money and power to destroy this country. Do not worry. Even though I've said a few bad words, God has our back. But we have to do God's work by working on our feet, guys. Thank you guys for joining me again today. Again, if you don't follow me already, you can follow me on Instagram at Rogue Republican. You can follow me on Twitter at Rogue Repub 1981. You can also follow me on Periscope. It's the same as my Twitter, Rogue Repub 1981. Please share this video with as many people as possible. Please comment, like, subscribe. I will respond to all your comments. And I really appreciate, Bloomberg is, and he made a pretty racist comment about minorities. Mr. Bloomberg, do you think this is a gun problem? No, this is a minority problem. We need to keep the guns out of the hands of minorities, right? Anyway, thank you, Ro. You're the man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for joining me here today. Get out and vote again tomorrow. I will do another live feed tomorrow to kind of clean up and see where we're at on our races, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on based on the results we get from tomorrow, guys. So anyway, guys, God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Remember, click on the links on my profile, make a donation. We really appreciate it. Continue to pray for me and my wife. We have our first baby on the way. God bless you all.